Hello, my name is Eric and I'm doing another one of my photography vlogs called One Body, One Lens, One Roll, One Day. And I am here at Freed Park, F-R-E-I-D-T, in Wadsworth, Ohio. Never been here before. It's kind of a nice little side park. There's a basketball court, looks like some bleachers over there for maybe small performances and stuff like that. Obviously the picnic area and the jungle gym behind me. Looks like it's right next to some sort of electrical distribution plant, something like that, but there's some pretty big stuff behind me. Today's film is some in-stock Fuji 400, so no special differences or anything like that. Today's camera is a Pentax Espio 24EW. Espios are basically the IQZooms, so Pentax IQZoom, Pentax Espio. One's the international flavor, the other one's the United States. But the big deal on this one is the fact that it has a 24-105 zoom on it. Now, most of these little pocket cameras had 35-105s, 35-70s. They started at 35 or 38. A few of them went down to 28. Even some prime ones went down to 28, but usually not any. It was not any wider than that. This is one of a few, and I would have to do some digging to figure out what other ones that are out there. I think Nikon had one, but don't quote me on that one. That went back to 24. So very wide angle pocket camera. This does have the date stamp on it. I might turn it on a couple times so you can see how a date stamp would affect your photo. This does have normal modes that you might see. Got has some exposure compensation, red eye reduction, some autofocus choices, and has an option to use an infrared remote. I actually have one at home that I didn't even bring. I didn't even think about it, but that's okay. All right, and there is a panorama switch on the bottom. I may or may not shoot some panorama stuff, but let me load it up and then let's see what we can get. Most point shoot cameras, you stick it on the one side and you just pull it out. It's just so it kind of goes over top the opposing roller. You don't hook it to anything. Usually there's like a red or orange indicator. Pull your leader out to about that far, close it up, and if everything goes right, it's loaded up to number one. So this one's going to count as I take my photos and then kick into rewind at the end. There's a few Fujis and some Canon SLRs that would pull the film all the way out, and as you shot, go back inside the canister. This one does it what I refer to as the normal way, which pulls film out as you take the photos and then rewinds it at the end. All right, let me get some shots and then let's see what we can get. So I'm going to do a shot wide and a shot long so you can kind of see the difference between a 24 and a 105. And I'm going to use the basketball hoop. So where I'm standing, which is not even a third in from the court, at 24 I'm actually getting the whole 3-point ring that they have. So that's pretty wide. And then at the full telephoto, I'm getting a pretty good shot of the net and the baseboard filling up a majority of the image. So pretty wide to pretty long for something like this. This does have the Pentax SMC coatings on it, so as a reminder, the SMC coatings, where a lot of other cameras have multi-coatings, so some of the optics are coated and you can see the colored reflections coming off of it. Pentax SMC coatings is every single piece of glass on both sides have coatings. So if you look through and you check the reflections, there's absolutely no white reflection. In fact, most of it's purples, blues, and greens. There's a tiny magenta one in there, which what I've noticed anyway is that it increases the contrast a little bit, almost like you're shooting through a polarizing filter without getting that polarized effect. So you're not getting the glare reduction, but you're getting that little extra kick in the colors. All right, I'm gonna head over to those bleachers. Let's see what kind of shots I can get over there. So it looks like there's two sets of bleachers. Yeah, maybe like a little kickball or wiffle ball type court or playing field. A little overgrown, so you know they haven't maybe done much playing here recently, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to get some shots here, and we're going to head over to the jungle gym. Be right back. Now I've seen this. They have a sign here that I've never seen because of the telephone poles and the electric grid thing nearby. No kite flying, so you can't fly your kite here. Even though it's kind of a nice big open area, they don't want you to fly your kite. Thought that was kind of amusing. All right, I'm about shot 14, so almost halfway through my roll. Let me keep going and see what I can get. So I noticed when you first turn this camera on, it kind of sets itself at about maybe a 35, 38 kind of starting range. It doesn't start back at the 24, but if you hit the wide part of the zoom, it retracts it further and sets it even wider. So I thought that was kind of interesting that you don't get the wide right away because of when it turns on, it has to set the lens. All right, let me get a few more shots. I got maybe 10 left. Let me see what I can get. I will say this is one of the smaller point and shoot cameras with a bigger zoom, so if you've got big hands, I mean, my pinky sticks out a little bit, so it's kind of like doesn't have any really good place to go. And really doesn't have a bumpy grip that some cameras do. So as you notice, I've tethered the camera to my wrist. You know, sometimes I'll double loop it. That way, if it slips out of my hand, because it is a very, very smooth camera, then I'm not going to, just going to drop it like that and not like have it hit anything, hopefully, and damage the camera. So straps can be a good thing. SLRs might have crossbody. There's traditional straps. Most pocket cameras come with a little lanyard type strap. This is actually pretty a long one. This is kind of more of a neck strap rather than a wrist strap. Some of the cameras will come with a little tiny wrist strap, but this one kind of has the neck strap. All right, let me see what else I can get. All right, and that's the end of my roll. It's rewinding right now. Images will be posted at the end. Feel free to give them a thumbs up if you like them. Feel free to comment with your own experiences with an Espio series camera, or even the 24EW or other Pentax cameras. I tend to like them. Probably half the stuff I've shot so far has been through a Pentax. Today's film was some in stock, so in date Fuji 400. Got it probably about 2-3 months ago in a multi-pack, so no big deal there. No exposure comp, no overriding DX code, so it was shot at 400 speed. Feel free to subscribe. New episodes come out every Friday and Saturday with some bonus episodes every now and then that just kind of creep up. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next episode.